was a gorgeous sunrise this morning, and we are now out. You can see the silhouette of a big old natural gas platform that we're going to go troll around and fish. Sitting in about 45 feet of water. I mean, you can still see land, so they're very accessible. And there's numerous ones around here. You don't really need much to find them. You can just look around and see. Each one produces different stuff at different times. But I am going to start out by trolling some Nomad lures. Probably a DTX minnow. I think this one right here. This is a 10-foot diver. And you can see I've caught some fish on it right there. This is the Nomad DTX 180 HD. And I have it rigged up with a 100-pound Mamoy monofilament leader. A very short leader. But my name's Steven with Bama Saltwater. Let's get rigged up and get to fishing. These things can really hold some fish. I mean, anytime you have structure in a very sandy gulf, these things act as fish havens. And they are from here all the way out to as far as you could possibly want to go in a boat. But once you get out a certain distance, you have the floaters, because then it's so deep that they're no longer attached to the bottom. Big old flame going. Yo! Sweet! Just hooked up. I don't know into what, but I found a nice rip. I mean, a really nice tide line. And I was like, you know what? Let me just troll it. Because there's sargassum weed. We just had a hurricane. So you really never know what's going to show up. And that's all I did. And now I'm hooked up. That's amazing. I don't know what it is yet. Could be a king. Really never know this time of year. But let's bring it in. Find out what you're gonna be. Could be a bobo. That's a king. Yes. Nice king mackerel. He's kind of staying calm right now. He can continue to stay calm. We'll grab the gaff. Come on. Get you a little closer in. Oops. Get a green fish. And we got him. Yes. Ooh. Not very good though. But I got him. Cool. Nice king. Get up here, man. Okay, there we go. That is our king mackerel on the Nomad DTX 180, little 10-foot diver. That's a nice king mackerel, probably 15 pounds. Bleed him out, throw him on ice, and keep on trolling. I'm glad that I came out here and decided to troll, but I had to change colors because I got cut off on the other one. So we're gonna get him unhooked and try to get some more fish. Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna circle back around. I mean, I'm not in a specific location. I came out here, left the rigs, and found a really nice tide line. You can just see a trail of bubbles, grass, pine straw, and that's all I'm doing is trolling that tide line. Real simple stuff. If you find something like that, it's well worth stopping and trolling. All right, I'm gonna hop back on this, grab my lure and get it back out. Make sure it's not tangled up, and it's not. Pick up our speed some. Just do the same thing. It's always exciting when you hear that drag go off, because you never know what's going to be on the end of that line. Frigate bird. And we are hooked up again. Oh yeah. Not too long from the last place we hooked up. Dang, it's taking some line. Taking some good line. Put a little bit more drag on him. Man, that thing really smoked that reel on that first run. But now it's coming in straight to me. And I stopped the boat. You really don't want to stop the boat. But since I'm by myself, I stopped the boat for safety reasons. But ideally, you keep the boat moving forward and it keeps your line tight at all times. This might be a bobo, the way it feels, or it could be a king. I don't know. That's the exciting part. We'll get some of this line back and find out together what it is. Man, it took a lot. It's a little toony. There you are. Yeah, that sucker took some line. We'll save this thing as bait if we can get it in. Yep, I'll save you as some bait. But that is what colloquially called a bonito. They're not really bonito. They're false albacore or little toonies. Gorgeous fish, and they're fun to catch. Put him and save him as bait if I do decide to drop down and snapper fish today. I'm kind of having more fun trolling. There we go. Bloody things. The DTX Minnow 180 seems to get it. It's getting down to 10 feet depth. I have a mad scat out there as well that stays up top. We'll get you back out. And you don't really need anything giant or heavy to pull these lures. This is just a 25 size conventional reel. Use it for bottom fishing or trolling like this, and even jigging. Put that back on strike, put that clicker on so we know when we get a bite, we're good to go. And this rip goes for a long way. But what's cool is that those bonita or little toonies, false albacore, are in the same family as the king mackerel that's in our cooler as well, the Scombrede fish family. Pretty neat. Really fast swimming, migrating fish. Again. Okay, they're liking the pink 180. They're liking it a lot. What the heck? Surfing on top. Did it get grass on it? What's going on? It's got some grass on it, and whatever it is, it's just surfing on top. So I don't really know what's going on here. Oh, it's a king though. Yeah, it is. Either that or a really large Spanish. No, that's a king. That's a perfect little size one. There he goes. Because I don't know if he would have made it or not. Not that I did that on purpose, but he was right on the verge. They have to be 24 inches long. He was right on that verge. He still had his spots on him like Spanish mackerel. So he went back. Unintentionally, but that kind of worked out. Well, I'm gonna pull up that one because that one hasn't got a hit. This one here is getting it done. I mean, it gets under that prop wash, so it's a lot easier to see. I just found a pretty nice bottom spot, so I'm gonna get this trolling motor down and then tie up a little bottom rig so I can use that bonita. Now I'm going to utilize that little bonita we caught and just cut into strips. You can do long ways or up and down. Up and down they're a little shorter, which is fine. And there's a nice little bonita strip right there. Now what you can also do is cut it in half too, like I just did. And now I'm going to put it onto my 7/0 circle hook right here. Make sure you go through the skin. And I've snelled this with 40-pound fluorocarbon leader, and this is about 4 feet of leader. Come up to a barrel swivel and a 4-ounce egg sinker. And that's it. Same setup I was trolling with. I just tightened the drag down some more, and now we're going to drop that down. 108 feet deep right here. Chop it down probably halfway, and it's already getting nibbled on. God, that didn't take long. That didn't take long at all. First drop down, almost pulled it out of my hand. Good fish. Trigger fish. That's a keeper too. That is a keeper trigger fish. Yes. What a nice gray trigger fish. Check that out. They do have to be 15 inches to the fork to keep, which is to the middle of their tail. So not the largest trigger fish I've ever caught, but it is a nice legal keeper, and I've learned my lesson on throwing back ones that barely make it, so we're gonna keep this one. In terms of trigger fish, you're only allowed one a person anyway, but that's a nice gray trigger fish, and they are in season. It didn't take very long for that trigger fish to come up and hit it. I mean, that was the first drop with the bonita. See how tough their skin is? I'm gonna take another bobo chunk, drop it down. See if we can get a snapper. It looks like right now I'm just marking a bunch of triggerfish, so we'll see. Circle hooks, you just start reeling. There's another good one. Feisty little thing, whatever you are. But yeah, you just start reeling, don't set the hook, and that hook will roll into the corner of that fish's mouth majority of the time. There's our snapper. Let's see if he's going to be a keeper. Right now, we're just looking for keepers, and that one is not, I can tell you that already. There you go, Red. Let's get another one out there. Send some more down. Okay, that might be our keeper. Sure as heck hope so. Yep, that's a keeper for sure. All right, perseverance paid off on that one with the bonita strip. Oh, I spit it up everywhere. But that's our keeper red snapper. We're allowed 2 per person, so I'm going to put him in the cooler and try to drop down again. I cut out a nice big strip of bobo, and that's what he ate. So that's awesome. We got king mackerel, have that bonita that we use as bait, hooked another king that was able to get away, a trigger fish, and a keeper red snapper. Let's get another one. Just kind of cut out a nice strip, and that very silver skin of this fish plus the scent of the blood and the meat makes that very delectable snapper bait. And then take your circle hook, feed it through, make sure you puncture that skin so that bait stays on well, and we're ready to drop that down again. Definitely messy fishing, but these fish sure do like that bloody bait. And I'm only dropping it halfway down, so once that blue gets off my line, there you go, because this is metered line. Very easy to know how deep you are. And there's another bite and a good fish. Come on, doesn't take long to do this. Are you a keeper? I think that one is. Yes, it is. Come on, man, get in here. And that is my limit of red snapper, my limit of triggerfish. As easy as that. See that beautiful red snapper? And I caught my own bait, caught a bunch of fun, caught that king mackerel, which is fun and always a bonus. Oh man, these things will cut you up, but they're such good eating fish. So that was pretty easy. Fun fishing. I'm gonna clean up this deck a little bit. I wanna make my way in because the wind is picking up and it's pretty choppy. So we'll probably see you back at the boat ramp. Real brown water here. Really brown and muddy. Yeah, check it out. We're at the bird of prey tailgate cutting board or cleaning table with my logo on there. Got to clean it up. We just had that hurricane. We just had that tropical storm conditions, and it is a lot of water. I mean, saturated the yard is. But we're gonna clean these fish up because I was able to get out yesterday and catch some nice ones. I ended up giving that king mackerel away, so we have our 2 snapper and trigger fish. Take a 7-inch fillet knife. And let's get into our red snapper. Very good eats right there. Red snapper, highly desired fish, extremely popular here on the Gulf Coast because it's flavorful, plentiful, and easy to clean. So just run that knife down, crack through those fin bones, go to the other side, And I'm trying to get the angle for you. Cut that off. And I like to run my knife up and over the rib cage, so you don't have to worry about cutting the rib cage out when you do the fillet. See that? Simple, steady cuts. And there is our red snapper fillet. You can leave it on the fish like that, and then remove the skin. Or you can leave the skin on. If you scaled it, you can leave the skin on. But check that out. We're gonna get this red meat out. Leaving a little bit on there is okay, but that main bloodline, you wanna get out. And since these sat in a nice ice brine overnight, look at that, they're not bloody at all. They were able to bleed out. Easy stuff. See that? Let's go to the other side. Behind that pectoral fin, all the way down the stomach. Once you get through the scales, just run the tip of your knife without getting caught up in their dorsal, and go all the way to where that first cut is. And then, once again, another easy, simple fillet job. Get around that rib cage, and I'll show you here. I kind of pull apart to where the meat's tight, and then slide that knife over the ribs, not through them, because that's how you dull a knife. And then once you get there, cut it off, and another clean red snapper fillet. They also have some throats or collars that are extremely good. A lot of meat there, and then the head, you can make fish head soup just out of this portion, extremely good, or some good fish stock. But we're just keeping the fillets. So this one I cut all the way off the fish, just get a decent grip, and then you can do a slight sawing motion, get through. See that? Ones these size don't really have a big bloodline at all, and it's very, very fresh and tasty. I love catching the big ones, but these size right here are perfect. So that's off of one fish, American red snapper fillet. Catch them all the time. Can't keep them all the time because the season's pretty regulated, and I'm glad that we were able to get a nice short window to get out and catch some fish. Let's get into the trigger fish. Here's our gray trigger fish. You probably already know why they're called trigger fish. But these have a very weird smell to them, but they're tasty. And they used to be a pretty big trash fish. Like, a lot of people didn't want to keep them because their skin is like leather trying to get through. But they have some, see if we can show their teeth. These things eat coral, barnacles, sea urchins, anything they can bite straight through, but very small mouths. So let's get into filleting them. We can use a serrated knife on this trigger fish. They got a thick scale, so you hear that? Leather skin. But you want to go through the soft part. They got a big belly, so most of the meat's right here. So feel where their head, that's soft there. And I just do that with a serrated just to get through the skin, like that. Once you can get through the skin, you can take a regular fillet knife that's sharp and open it up, give it a good outline. Trigger fish is such a tasty meat, and you can only keep one, which is crazy, but it is a very tasty meat. Giant rib cage, like I mentioned. But let's open this up and get this trigger fish fillet. Once you get to that backbone, shallow cut over the backbone, flex that knife to get the meat on the other side. You can also start on the other side as well. I like to cut all the way off. Taking my time, because we want to go where that rib cage starts and ends. So pin bone, rib bones, and there's a simple fillet for a trigger fish. Cut that off. There's our trigger fish fillet. I mean, this one was a barely legal fish, Those are Penn bones. A lot of bones in there you don't want. But this was a barely legal fish, but it was a keeper. They have to be 15 inches to the middle of their tail, which is fork length. So you don't get a crap ton of meat off of them, but what you do get is delicious. See that? That's why triggerfish is so tasty. Not a bloodline whatsoever right there. You got a little bit of that muscle there for their big fins, but look at this. I didn't take a water hose and spray this fish off once I opened it up at all. And we have a extremely white fillet. Trim some of that skin off that I missed. I will take some of that muscle out. And then we'll separate this in half. That is one of my favorite fish. Not my top favorite. It was at one point until I caught a Trident wahoo, but it is on up there because it's tasty. And you can see the color difference between red snapper. Red snapper kind of have a pinkish to their meat. The triggerfish is just nothing but white. Flip it around and do the other side. Take that serrated and just open it up. See, if you don't have a serrated knife, you can use a regular knife too, but the serrated just seems to help get through a lot easier. And once you can get the tip of your knife in there, it's just like anything else after that. It's just at a weird angle because you've already done the other fillet. We'll clean that up. They have pretty thick bone structure too, so you don't have to really worry about cutting on the other side. I'm just trying to show you. Pull that meat away. Cut through them Penn bones. Down that rib cage. That skin. And cut it off. I'll trim some of that muscle out. Nothing too crazy on that side. We'll take the skin off. Big old wide fish. When you catch them large, they call them a stop sign because they're literally super wide. But this one I need to fill. I left some Penn bone in there. Just make a V cut. Get that out. See, trim that Penn bone out, and then we'll split that in half. And there's our triggerfish. Really delectable meat, fresh out of the Gulf. I'm gonna knock out this other snapper, and I don't know if we're gonna take it to a restaurant or what we do. It's always fun to come up with a delicious way of cooking fish because there's really no wrong way to eat these fresh fish. Okay, y'all, it may look a little messy, but I got a few things going on. This is a few weeks later after catching those fish. I have vacuum sealed them, and now they are completely thawed out, boneless, skinless fillets. And then we're going to smoke these. So coat them in mayonnaise so they're non-stick. You can do olive oil as well. And here is our dry rub we're going to use for the smoker. This is some Dixie Dirt. If you want to brine them, you can. Snapper are not that oily. And then we have some sweet corn, jalapeno peppers. All I've done is mix up some butter, salt, smoked paprika, honey, and garlic powder, and that's what's going to go over our corn. And here is our hickory chips that we're going to smoke. So our charcoal should be ready. I'll see y'all outside. So my coals are lit in this chimney. We're going to separate them. Alrighty. And that's what we're going to put our wood chips in. But let's put our tray of water. This is just plain water. And this is going to kind of act like a heat sink between our really hot coals. And we're going to put our hickory chips on there that have been smoking in water. And if we need to add more coals, we can. Like on this side, I might add some more coals later on. But right now, let's go grab our hickory wood chips. So I'm gonna do the jalapenos and corn over the coals before I start smoking. But that's our hickory wood chips. They've been soaking in just regular water and they're drained. But I want my corn to actually be grilled. And this corn has been soaking in water as well. So do that over direct heat, which everybody does things different. This is just me. It's kind of crappy weather today, but I love showing y'all what you can do with fish that you catch out in the Gulf or your home waters, and just different techniques rather than just frying, which nothing wrong with just frying, but something's very rewarding about taking fish that you catch yourself, bringing it home and cooking it up yourself as well, or taking it to a restaurant. Just super fresh tasting. So we're gonna let these finish roasting. Doesn't take too long, and then we'll start adding our hickory chips, probably a few more coals, and that's our fish. It's literally just mayonnaise and then that dry rub. The mayonnaise acts as your oil for non-stick. If you want to do EVOO, you can as well, but I think the mayonnaise, it's kind of a neutral flavor, and it also has good adhesion property for all that dry rub. Now there's our roasted jalapeno and roasted corn. Now it's time to get our coals ready for the smoker. And now we're going to add a good handful of our hickory chunks right there. They're going to sizzle for a little bit since we're soaking in water, and then they should start making a nice smoke. You can also do some lump pecan wood. There's so many different things you can do and that's what makes it really fun. But this is just what I had on hand. And so whatever makes life easy and what you have on hand, might as well use it. So we want those to start sizzling and just start creating a nice smoke. And then our fish is gonna go right here in the middle over this water pan. But see how it's already smoking? They don't call it smoked fish for no reason. Time to add our fish over indirect heat. You don't want it sizzling up or flaring up. This is a slow cook. And the smoke is what's gonna add that flavor into this fish. Now, red snapper and triggerfish, you typically, I mean, you can fry up, it tastes delicious. There's really no wrong way to cook it. Typically mackerel and mullet are great smoked, but it amplifies it even more using such a high quality fish like this. And you know, I catch a bunch, so I like trying different things. So that lid's on. There, it's a little distorted. And we're gonna turn that, we don't want it all the way open. We want just a little bit of smoke coming out. See that? It's like 1/8 of an inch open. But that's all it's gonna do is just sit there and smoke. We'll be back in about 15-20 minutes just to check it. I just opened the lid and it looks amazing. Y'all check this out. Wow, that is gonna be great. It's almost done. It's been 15 minutes, I mean, on the dot. So they're probably could be taken off, but if you want a little bit more flavor, we'll leave it on there for just a couple more minutes. Let's see how those hickory chips burn and just start smoking. That's gonna be good. Yo, that fish is ready. Look at that. You want that nice dark brown color. It's different than grilling. That worked out great. So we got our tray. Let's put that on there and take it inside. Let's see if the mayonnaise did the trick. Yep, it did. It did not stick. Look at that. Beautiful. Oh, I can't wait to eat it. It's gonna taste so good. This is red snapper, triggerfish, and a little bit of redfish, I call it too. Look at that triggerfish. Snapper, triggerfish, and redfish inside. Let it cool down and enjoy it with our corn and jalapenos. So we have our corn, freshly shucked. That's what you see on there. Our smoked triggerfish and red snapper, roasted jalapeno, and then I did a butter, paprika, garlic powder, and honey topping on the corn with some lemonade. Dreary day, but it is always nice being able to enjoy a nice meal on the water. We've all already tried that fish, and dadgum, was it good? I'm gonna try some more. Here's some of our triggerfish. Man, that's a nice sweet and smoky flavor right there. That's immaculate. Wow. I'm gonna take some of our roasted corn. That's really good. Try a bite of that jalapeno. I don't know if these are spicy or not. Some jalapenos are not that spicy and some are fire. That's just a nice plate of food that's just different than what I would normally do with snapper. Man, here you go, y'all can have some. But I love grilling, especially this time of year where it's not insanely hot, and doing different things with fish that come out well and you can do yourself. If you enjoyed this Catch, Clean, Cook, y'all go hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Smash the like, leave a comment. Love reading every single one of them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But we'll see you on the next Penn saltwater fishing video. All of our partners and sponsors are linked below. Most importantly, and as always, I want to thank the good Lord up above for everything he does for us. We'll see you later. I'm gonna keep on munching down, everyone. Heck yeah, we gone.